Ever feel like trying to find good medical care, especially for something rare?
Yeah,
It's like navigating a maze blindfolded.
it really can be. Yeah. Especially with a condition like sarcoma, you're right.
It's like, where do you even begin? Well, listener,
Right.
that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Hmm?
We're talking about what actually makes a sarcoma treatment center top-notch.
Yes.
And
Because it's about more than just a fancy building or a big name.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's not just about finding any doctor who's heard of sarcoma.
Right.
It's about finding those with specialized expertise, people who really get it.
Exactly. And that's where this whole concept of sarcoma intelligent specialist networks comes in.
SISNs?
Yeah, SISNs. It's a mouthful, I know.
It is. But it's a term that's gaining traction.
It is, and it's really gaining traction for a reason, because it's not just, like I said, a fancy name. It was coined by actual experts and patient advocates all over the world,
Right.
including, by the way, the Sarcoma Patient Advocacy Global Network, or SPAGN.
And what's great is we actually have a fantastic resource to help us break this down.
We do.
A publication in the medical journal, Cancers.
Oh, a really, really good one.
It lays out this blueprint for what makes a SISN truly intelligent.
Yeah, and it's great because it's not just some theoretical, pie-in-the-sky idea. It's grounded in years and years of real-world experience and research and advocacy.
It's practical.
Yeah.
Like a roadmap.
Exactly.
Okay, so roadmap it is. First stop on this roadmap,
Yeah.
multidisciplinary teams,
Yes, the MDT.
or MDT. But I think we've all heard that term before, multidisciplinary. But this publication, they go beyond the buzzwords.
Yeah, really do.
Because just having a bunch of doctors under one roof, that doesn't automatically make them a dream team.
Absolutely not, no. It's about how they work together.
Exactly. In the Cancers publication, they actually get into the specifics, right?
They do.
They're talking about surgeons, oncologists, radiologists, pathologists, like the whole crew, not just in the same building, but meeting regularly.
Yes. And meeting regularly to discuss each individual patient.
So it's not just about sending charts back and forth.
No.
It's about actively making joint decisions.
Absolutely. And this is so important, this idea of joint decisions, because, when we talk about sarcoma, one of the biggest challenges is...
The delay in diagnosis.
Yes.
And unfortunately, this Cancers publication, they highlight this, that those delays so often stem from a lack of specialized knowledge.
Right. And this is even among well-intentioned doctors.
Of course.
They haven't seen enough cases maybe to...
Where they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, you're going from doctor to doctor weeks, maybe even months.
With vague symptoms, you don't know what's going on.
And the stress, I can't even imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is what the SPAGN article we have, this is what they emphasize.
Yeah.
They're like early and accurate diagnosis.
Is key.
That's everything when it comes to sarcoma.
Exactly. And you know what? That actually brings us to the next core principle that the Cancers publication really stresses, the importance of MRI.
Okay.
And they are very clear on this. MRI. Not just another imaging option.
So not just, oh, we can do an x-ray or we can do this.
No. They're saying it's often the essential tool for accurate diagnosis and staging in sarcoma.
So hold on, just to clarify for our listeners, are we saying that sometimes a regular x-ray, which is standard for so many things, might not be enough for sarcoma?
Unfortunately, yeah. We're not saying x-rays are useless, but
Right.
MRI offers this kind of detailed, three-dimensional look at the soft tissues. And this is where most sarcomas develop, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And that's something that x-rays often miss.
So it's like trying to understand a sculpture, but you're only looking at its shadow.
That's a great analogy, yeah. You need that full picture.
Okay, so...
And this is why having those experienced sarcoma radiologists within the SISN is so important.
Because they know what to look for.
They know exactly what subtle little clues to look for on those MRIs.
And that can make all the difference in diagnosis and staging.
Huge difference.
Okay, so we've got the dream team, they're collaborating, we've got the high-tech imaging.
Right.
What's the next layer? What else did the Cancers publication highlight? So they actually use this great term, the Cancers publication. They talk about finding the sarcoma whisperer,
Okay.
aka the pathologist.
Ah, I like that.
So break it down for me. Why isn't it enough to just have any pathologist look at biopsy, especially for something as rare as sarcoma?
Well, you see, sarcoma is not just one disease.
Right.
It's actually a whole family of over 100 different subtypes.
Over 100.
Over 100.
Wow.
Each with its own kind of quirks under a microscope.
So even for a trained eye, I imagine telling those apart must be incredibly difficult.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. A general pathologist, they might be very, very skilled, but a sarcoma specialist, they live and breathe these subtle distinctions.
So it's the difference between...
They can often catch things
Right.
that others might miss,
You've seen it all.
which can make all the difference in getting that diagnosis and treatment plan right from day one.
And the cancers article really drives that point home, right? Like this specialized pathology expertise, they're saying that can drastically impact the effectiveness of your treatment.
Absolutely, yeah. And they actually highlight that even if a, sarcoma specialist can't do that initial biopsy review, which, let's be honest, that's not always feasible, especially in areas where these experts might be few and far between.
Right.
Getting a second opinion from one is absolutely crucial.
So, listener, if you're taking away anything from this, don't hesitate to ask if a sarcoma pathologist was involved at any point
Please.
in this process.
Please.
It's your right to advocate for that
100%.
level of expertise.
Yeah, and you know what? This dedication to specialized knowledge, it isn't just a one-time thing in a true SISN.
Okay.
The Cancers publication, they go on to outline several key features these networks should have, and one that really stood out to me was this emphasis on caseload.
Caseload, like how many patients they see. But wouldn't we want our specialists to have fewer patients so they could really focus?
Well, that's what seems intuitive, right? But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The publication, it cites studies showing that for a center to truly develop deep expertise in sarcoma, a certain volume of cases is actually a good thing.
Okay.
They actually recommend a minimum annual caseload of over 100 sarcoma patients, with at least 50 being new diagnoses every year.
So it's about striking that balance
Exactly.
between focused attention
Yep.
and then also like enough experience to stay at the top of their game.
Exactly, because they're seeing all the different variations. They're seeing how things present.
The different subtypes.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense when you put it that way.
And this actually ties directly into another key feature that they emphasize.
Okay.
Lifelong learning.
Okay.
A true sarcoma intelligence specialist network, it's constantly evolving.
So they're not just like resting on their laurels. We've arrived.
No. They are not standing still because the field of sarcoma research, it's constantly moving forward as well.
Things are changing all the time.
Exactly. So they're staying updated on the latest clinical trials, new treatments, and they're participating in these global sarcoma communities like CTOS, the Connective Tissue Oncology Society.
So it's not just about like the doctors within one network
Right.
teaching each other.
It's about tapping into that global network of knowledge.
Wow.
Exactly, because somebody somewhere might be doing something slightly different.
They might have seen something
That could help.
that you haven't seen before.
Exactly.
Wow. That's pretty incredible when you think about it.
It's amazing.
So, okay, we're talking about expertise, but what about access to cutting-edge technology and treatments? Surely that plays a role in what makes a SISN, truly stand out. Does the Cancers publication address that at all?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where things get, really exciting because we know the world of cancer treatment is changing so rapidly. And they highlight the importance of not just basic imaging like MRI, which we've talked about, how critical that is,
Right.
but access to even more advanced techniques.
Like, are we talking about things like PET scans? I know those can be helpful in visualizing certain types of sarcoma.
Absolutely. PET scans are one example, but it goes beyond just imaging, too.
Okay.
They even delve into the incredible advances in genomics, which is like,
This is where I get lost.
yeah.
Genomics. Why is that so crucial for treating sarcoma specifically?
So imagine like each sarcoma tumor has its own unique genetic fingerprint.
Okay.
And by analyzing those genes, specialists can identify specific targets for therapy, leading to much more personalized and potentially more effective treatment plans.
So it's not just about treating all sarcomas the same way. It's about tailoring that approach
Exactly.
based on the tumor's specific makeup.
It's personalized medicine.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is amazing, but this level of kind of personalized medicine, it requires access to very sophisticated genomic testing and analysis,
Okay.
which is, again, another hallmark of a well-equipped SISN.
So it sounds like being part of a really strong network. This could open doors to treatment options that someone might not even know to ask about otherwise.
You're absolutely right. And it's not just about accessing existing treatments,
Right.
but also potentially participating in clinical trials for new and emerging therapies.
Oh, wow.
This Cancers publication really underscores how being part of a research-oriented network can provide those kind of groundbreaking opportunities.
So it's not just about receiving excellent care, but it's also potentially contributing to the advancement of sarcoma treatment as a whole.
Exactly, yeah. By participating in clinical trials and research studies, patients within a SISN, they have the chance to help shape the future of sarcoma care, not just for themselves, but for countless others facing this disease.
This is really remarkable stuff. We started out feeling kind of lost in this maze of medical jargon,
Right.
and now we've got this roadmap for what to look for.
You got it.
And it all comes down to the patient, right?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's about improving the lives of real people.
Facing this really challenging disease.
Yeah, and the Cancer's publication, they really make it clear. They talk about how a true sarcoma intelligence specialist network, it's always using data to track outcomes to measure its own performance.
So it's constantly trying to improve.
Yes, always striving to be better. They get into how SISNs should be using data to drive improvements in everything.
Everything.
Faster diagnosis times,
Wow.
more precise surgeries, even fine-tuning those chemo protocols.
It sounds very, very high-tech.
It is, and this is but they're also very clear that this whole data-driven approach, it should never come at the expense of the patient,
The individual
patient's experience.
It's got to be both.
It has to be both.
You want that cutting-edge science,
Yeah.
but also that compassionate, personalized care.
100%, because part of that compassionate care means recognizing that a sarcoma diagnosis, it's not just physical.
Right, there's the emotional side.
Big time, yeah. And the Cancers article, they even touch on this, the importance of support systems.
Yeah, they talk about those patient support groups.
Yes, connecting with others who truly get it, because nobody understands what it's like to go through a sarcoma journey.
Right, like your friends and family, they can be supportive, but
They can try.
they haven't walked in your shoes.
Exactly. And those support groups, they're so valuable.
They are, and they offer more than just
Oh, yeah.
emotional support.
Oh, absolutely. You can get practical advice.
Tips,
Information that you might not find anywhere else.
resources.
Resources,
It
exactly.
really does. It takes a village, right?
It really does, especially with something as complex as sarcoma.
This has been incredible. We've gone from feeling lost to having this roadmap.
I'm glad we could provide that.
What to look for in a sarcoma treatment center.
And you know what the best part is? This roadmap, it's not just for patients and families. Healthcare providers can use it too,
That's right. They can look at this and say,
to see if they measure up, and hopefully even improve sarcoma care in their own regions.
so listener, next time you hear Specialist Center, remember, it's more than just a fancy name on a building. These core principles and key features we've talked about, they're your checklist. You are empowered to ask the right questions, advocate for the best possible care.
Because a true sarcoma intelligence specialist network, it embraces that idea of constant evolution, always pushing the boundaries to improve outcomes for patients.
And we've only just scratched the surface today, but hopefully this deep dive is giving you the knowledge to ask the right questions. Find your own sarcoma dream team.
Your people.
Because, let's face it, when it comes to rare cancers, knowledge is power, and knowing what to look for, what to ask for, that can make all the difference.
A world of difference.
Absolutely. And that's it for today's deep dive. We'll see you next time.